Hi, good morning. My name is Mike Morcher. I'm a local wildlife photographer, and I do say amateur. I'm not a professional by any stretch of imagination. And I would consider myself pretty much average wildlife photographer. Not at the higher end, although I have had some of my images published in magazines and papers, and been on the BBC as well. But so I've had a little bit of recognition, which is good. But I'm not putting myself up as a brilliant photographer. I would say run of the mill. Anyway, get that over with. Wildlife is my main interest, and micro four thirds. Now, I started photography back in the 60s with the old 35mm film camera, and one of the first cameras I had was a Topcon. It is as it says. It sounds like it's a bit of a con, but actually, if you Google it, you will see a very nice little camera will come up, and it was one of the top in its day, around the mid-60s, late 60s. And then later on I was using Nikon film cameras, 35mm. And then, as I say, the digital age came in, and I started using digital, very, very small sensor size, very, very bad reproduction, but you could see the future was there in digital. Anyway, my interest was rekindled in photography, and I found that the genre that I mainly liked was wildlife, although I do still do a bit of landscape. Micro four thirds, compact, size, cost, everything is going for it. Do I like backpacks? Well, we shall see. Tried it, and I don't particularly like it. Lugging a backpack about with a variety of lenses, tripod, filters, you name it, and a lot of the time it gets in the way. It just annoys me. Yes, on occasions you do need to change for a particular, but if you know you're going out for a particular shoot to get a particular effect, then I make sure that I just carry the filters or whatever I need at the time, rather than carrying everything with me. So I am looking at size and weight, and also, of course, I'm getting on a bit now, well into retirement, so I haven't got the strength or the energy, the stamina and so on to start lugging things around. Anyway, my decent, if you like, micro four thirds camera was the Panasonic G9, which I had for some time, and I really, really liked that camera. I really did like that camera. In most cases it did everything that I wanted it to. Very pleased with that. But then as you go on and you want to be able to nail things down even more, and then you find that there are cameras that have far better focusing, quicker, speed makes a difference on latching onto the subject, and also being able to follow that subject as well. The autofocus tracking the subject, and then of course you've got eye detect as well. So that persuaded me to change from Panasonic over to the Olympus OM-1, which I think is a great camera. But I kept my Panasonic Leica 100-400 lens. The other lenses that I have from Panasonic, of course, will work with the OM-1, so that's all good. The 100-400 I have been very satisfied with, but it has its downsides. One of the things that the Leica Panasonic didn't do was to make it so that you could fit a teleconverter on it, the 1.4 or the 2 times, to extend your range. That's one thing that the Olympus lenses do. they allow you to put a teleconverter on, which makes a big difference. So at the moment I'm with the OM-1. The Leica 100-400 lens is my main wildlife lens. Now of course they're bringing out the new Panasonic G9 Mark II, which has got to be some camera if it's going to beat the OM. Going by reports, it's coming out in the next couple of days or so. Going by reports, it will have a 25 megapixel sensor, which is good. Whether it will be fast or not remains to be seen. Now, I will put up here a chart showing you the speed of the sensor on the OM-1. Now, Canon have made big things of some of their cameras and that, and the speed of the sensors. When you look at the chart, you'll see that the Canons aren't particularly that fast, and the OM-1 comes out very good. The speed of the sensor. We have a faster burst mode with the OM-1 than quite a lot of cameras that are out there, and that does make a difference. Pre-capture as well. It has a lot of things going for it, but as I say, I have the 100-400 Leica lens. I would like a longer range, focal length, but I'm restricted because you can't put the teleconverter on the 1.4 onto the Leica lens. Actually, you can, if you modify the lens, you can take a little piece off the back of the lens, a plastic like cap almost, which will allow you to put the teleconverter on. But then that restricts it. You don't have 100-400. I think you have somewhere about 180, almost 200-400, because the lens can't go back enough in the body. The teleconverter actually restricts it, and you're messing about with a product that I don't wish to do, but it is possible. I have considered trading in my Leica lens and going for the OM 100-400, which will take the teleconverter to give me that extra range, which would be good, but it's for me it's expensive. The ultimate lens, of course, would be the 150-400 Olympus lens that has the teleconverter built in, and you just throw a switch. Beautiful piece of kit. Everybody says how bloody wonderful it is. But yeah, as I say, out of my price range. So trying to keep to practicalities, sticking for the time being with the OM-1, the 100-400. You do have the option, of course, on the camera. There is a 2x teleconverter built into the camera. So that gives you, if you've got a 100-400, and if you're looking at 35mm equivalent, you've got 800mm range. Then you double that, so you've got 1600mm range, which is quite a range. But of course, with a 2x built-in converter, all it's doing is magnifying what's already there. So it's magnifying all the bad things as well, noise, etc. It does work, but you've got to get your exposure absolutely nailed, bang on. You can get some pretty good results. As I say, everything has got to be right for it to work. And usually, things are not usually that right, because if you're in the field, you're taking images and you're taking them while a bird's in flight. You might be moving, the bird might be moving, or the animal, or whatever the subject is. So I will be interested to see, as I think all of us will be, how the new G9 Mark II stacks up compared to everything else. But I've made the change to Olympus, and I think I'll probably be sticking with Olympus now. So that's basically the situation, or my situation there, and I think there's quite a lot of photographers that are in the same sort of position. The other thing I've noticed is out in the field, going out on shoots, the amount of people that I've met, certainly in this county, in Norfolk, that are using the OM-1 for wildlife. It is striking, the amount of people that are actually using the OM-1 as a wildlife camera. So it shows I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people, as I say, because of it being light, quick, easy to use, and the specifications blow a lot of cameras away at the moment. Other cameras will catch up, of course, but I think the OM will be getting some firmware updates which will probably keep it in the race. Okay, for the time being, I think that's it.